And please put your hands together for our next storyteller, Sándor. Lau? Coming all the way from the back, down the stairs. Keep it going!
It's actually pronounced Sándor. You can remember, like Sean Connery walks through the door, or if you're brave, Sándor, Lord of Gondor. My story tonight is about how to get free lodging. In the depths of the recession, I was trying desperately to get my life in transit and leave Eugene, where I'd kind of been stranded by the recession, to move to the great city of Portland, Oregon, where I live now and have never been happier. The short answer of how to get free lodging is to go on Couchsurfing.com, where you can either just put your dates and where you want to go and how many people you need and see what the universe provides back, or you can make a request to a specific host based on their profile. I started out with the first method, and my request was accepted right away. After it was accepted, I got a personal message from the hosts I would be staying with saying, "Just so you know, we're a gay couple in our mid-50s, and we do practice nudity in the house, so you would need to be okay with that." I just got the impression that this free housing wasn't actually going to be free. So I decided to look for another host, and it shows you who your friends of your friends on Facebook are. So I messaged a friend of a friend who would graciously accept me. He and his girlfriend would actually be away for the weekend, and I would have the whole house to myself. They would just leave the keys under a rock by the door, and I could stay there. So I roll up in my Geo Metro, and sure enough, the key is under the rock just where they said it would be. I use the key, I open the door, but it's a little bit confusing because they have a deadbolt and a regular lock on the door, and I can't really remember which is which, but I get in the door, it's fine, I go to bed early to get a good night of sleep because I'm trying to move to Portland, and I'm going to get up tomorrow and look for places to live. In the morning, I get up early, about 6 o'clock, I gotta have my yoga in the morning, but I forgot the yoga mat in the car. And I'm a guest at these people's house. Even at my own house, I will always bring the key with me and lock the door, even if I'm going down to the end of the driveway to get the mail. So if I'm staying with strangers who have been very gracious to offer me their hospitality, of course I am going to lock the door to their house. I'm in nothing but my pajamas, don't have my glasses on, no wallet, no phone, just the keys. Go out, get the yoga mat, and I come back to the house, put the key in, and it doesn't work. It turns out the key is to the deadbolt only, and the main handle has a different key. The number for my host, it's in the email that's in the telephone and in the laptop that are both in the house, along with the glasses that would allow me to drive legally and the wallet which could provide solutions. Now, I'm a very prepared person. I grew up in Boy Scouts with the motto, be prepared. So in the car, I have a $10 roll of quarters and a $50 bill. So I get back to the car and I think, what can I do at 6 o'clock in the morning? I have to drive around, and some of you in the audience may be old enough to remember what an internet cafe is. It's like a regular cafe, but back in the day, they had computers and you put quarters in it and you get 5 minutes of internet for a quarter or something like that. So I have to drive, it's not like I can look it up on the phone or look it up on Google. I just have to drive around and hopefully find a cafe open at 6 o'clock in the morning where you can put quarters in. After a few tries, I find a cafe that has this, and I go into my email and I get not only the number of my host, but also the neighbors that kind of look after the place when they're gone. Great, I've got the digits. Now I have to go look for another thing that some of you in the audience may be old enough to remember. It's called a phone booth. And I feel a bit of sympathy for Superman these days because he doesn't have that many places to change. But eventually, driving around, I could find a phone booth and go figure, it's 6:30 on a Saturday morning, my hosts are not answering the phone. Neither are the people who are looking after the place in my host's absence. So I go back to the house, I'm trying to every door and window to jimmy something, and it's not working. And I'm really cold. It's November in Portland, I'm in my pajamas, and I think, okay, I'm desperate enough now that I'm just gonna start knocking on doors. But the neighbors, it's just an apartment complex. It could be any one of these neighbors in the apartment complex. It could be people down the street. I have no idea. But I'm that cold. So I raise my hand up on the first door that just seems closest and most likely. And as I'm lowering my hand to knock on the door, it opens before me. And a young woman comes out and says, "Oh, are you Sándor, Lord of Gondor? Are you staying at the house?" "Yes, thank you so much." It's a mom in roughly 50 years old and daughter probably early 20s. It's early Saturday morning. They're both in their bathrobes and slippers, but I kind of get the impression they didn't intend to change anything else the rest of the day. I think they are the managers of the apartment complex because they've got a big ring of keys, like a ring of keys the size of a tambourine, and you could probably actually make music with the number of keys on it. They're not just looking after this one place. So we go back to the house and take half an hour to try every single one of these keys in the door. And after half an hour, we decide and discover that they have the exact same key that I have that opens the deadbolt, but not the main lock. So we go back and have kind of an awkward breakfast. And after a certain point in time, I'm just feeling so uncomfortable that I feel like I need to leave. And the best plan I can think of is I got a $50 bill and $9.50 of quarters left in the car. I'm going to take the money, drive to the hardware store that opens at 9, buy the cheapest drill and set of drill bits I can possibly find, drill the lock, get in, get back to my wallet, secure the house with the deadbolt, go back to the hardware store, buy a new lock, replace the lock, get to my 10 o'clock appointment, write a desperate sorry note, and prepare to get the worst Couchsurfing review ever. But before I do this, one more time, I'm going to go check all the doors and windows on the house. And it turns out there's one that I missed. It's the bathroom window. It's about 5 feet tall. And for those of you in the listening audience on the podcast who can't see all 5 feet 6 1/4 inches of all man standing before the live audience, it's pretty high. Like my chin barely reaches the window. But I manage to jimmy the window open, climb up through the window, get inside, retrieve my gear, and make it to my 10 o'clock appointment. And doing this, it feels like I can do anything. It's like this is actually a bigger accomplishment than graduating college and finding a new place to live in Oregon. And that is how to get free lodging.